Hey guys, and welcome to day 4, my last day of my knitty weekend vlog where I have all the time in the world to knit and craft and do all the things that I love. Today we shall be chatting about a lot of things, namely the Colored Opportunity sock mystery knit along. I want to try and answer a couple of your questions, and someone asked me for my favorite most used sort of baby and child knits. So I have brought down a whole bunch of things to show you, and we'll see what happens. But before we get into all of that, I am wearing a finished object. I am wearing my linen quill no frills sweater. So I have mentioned this many times in the past, and you will hear that even more when I am knitting, when I'm showing you my children's knits. I tend to reuse patterns over and over and over again just to use the numbers. And for this jumper, I had single skeins and leftovers from another linen quill jumper I made earlier this year. So what I did is I just did a gauge swatch. I knew I wanted to knit this yarn held single this time on a loose gauge. So I did a gauge swatch, and I got a DK weight gauge that I liked because it was really nice and drapey. And then I just went into my library to check which top-down raglan sweater patterns I had that matched that gauge. So I settled on doing the petite knit no frill sweater, even though like my yarn choice is completely different to what she does. And yeah, I just made myself a striped sweater. As you can tell, I did random stripes. Not sure if you can tell, I will try to film some footage later on where you can actually see how this fits, but it's got lots of positive ease, it's really comfortable, and I love this. I'm really happy with how this turned out. I realize the color combination is not everyone's cup of tea. I'm not sure if it's mine all the time, but I do think it's really fun. And yeah, so far this feels much nicer than my previous linen quill sweater, which I made with 2 strands of linen quill held double. This just, I don't know, something about this feels really nice and comfortable to me. So I am very, very happy with this. Next, I will briefly chat about the Colored Opportunity mystery knit along by Stephen West again. So if you don't want to be spoiled, please do skip ahead a couple of minutes. But I'm only using clues 1 and 2, both of which have been out for a couple of weeks now. So I don't think I shall be spoiling anyone too badly anyways. So I mentioned yesterday that I didn't plan on doing clue 3 and 4 of the pattern. I just wanted to knit a vanilla sock. And yesterday I was about here, so I had clue 1 and 2, and I had picked up the stitches just to do a vanilla, like gusset and plain vanilla sock. So did you knit backwards, Julia, you may ask? No, I finished the sock. So this is my modified, finished Colored Opportunity, which I still think is such a stupid name. Sorry, I don't like it. And this is what I've done. So you can see this is clue 1, it's knit sideways. Clue 2 is the rib, and I did the garter stitch heel, which I think is really, really pretty. And then as you can see, I just knit a stockinette sock, except in sort of like a nod to the pattern, I decided to do these little eyelet stripes of the contrast colors, which are very, very simple. And I love how this turned out. I think, I don't know, I'm really proud of myself for doing this. I feel like I did the mystery part, I did like a couple of like crazy Stephen West techniques, and then I also made it work for my own wardrobe. I really wanted these to fit well, and like the tube fits okay. It's not brilliant, and I decided I'd rather have a well-fitting foot of my sock than something that is really spectacularly like crazy and out there but might not be as wearable. So yeah, I am really thrilled with this, and as you can see, since yesterday I also did the rib, and oof, got myself in the eye there. I did the rib. Last night I did the heel this morning, and I've just what do you call it, like picked up the gusset stitches and all of that. So now I have perfect Olympics TV knitting. And can I crank at least the foot, maybe not the toe, can I crank the foot out while watching F1 today? I think it is quite possible. It's just a matter of focus more than anything else. But I shall try. And the eagle eyes of you will see that while I try to make them symmetrical, they're sort of symmetrical. It's impossible to tell for you like this, isn't it? Like, both, this isn't symmetrical at all. But then, this is. So what did I do? I didn't get the instructions, that's what I did. Firstly, in clue 1, I should have done these stripes the opposite way, and I didn't do that. Then, because I didn't understand the instructions, I picked up the rib on the wrong side, which made it more complicated. I should have thought this through. So they're not perfectly symmetrical, but like these welts will be sort of like on each side of the foot. I think it's just this I-cord that is in a weird place. But honestly, it also doesn't matter. So yeah, a slight adventure there, but these socks are officially modified, and I'm really happy with it. This yarn is some super old British sock yarn that I got in like a lucky dip bag from a dyer ages ago. It was a nightmare to cake up because all the skeins I got were really, really tangled and I wasn't impressed. So I basically didn't look at them for a while. But I'm using this now, which is good. And the minis I am using are from Black Elephant Yarns. I have a couple of mini sets from her that I got on sale. And I think the minis are from different sets. I just used 3 colors. And I think they work quite nicely. And this is a nice stash project because I've been meaning to use this coral yarn for a long time. I've had it caked up for a long time. And I'm glad to have used it. So that is my mystery knit along, and I shall no longer talk about that. Linen quilt sweater. I haven't worked on my hand-spun strange brew, but I thought I would show you because someone asked, and I should have like printed out the question. I haven't, but someone asked about my favorite sort of knits for children and babies and what I found useful. And I dug out a couple of things. So first things first, I think this is so subjective. People with little ones, some of you prefer like even with store-bought things, some people prefer the vests that have like a million buttons. And some of like, I always like the really simple stuff. I like vests that you can just like put over the head, put them on and be done. Like, I never had time to like understand like how like funny like weird zippy buttoned pajamas work in the middle of the night. My husband certainly didn't. So my preferences may not be your preferences, but sort of the same goes for the knitwear that I found really useful. I know some people make beautiful like garments with lots of like wraps and buttons and suits, and I always found the opposite to be true. Even when my son was really, really tiny, I just put him straight into sweaters because I always felt, and to this day, you just put a sweater on and you're done. Like, you just, like, all you need to do is you need to get it over the head. So what I do with all of my baby knits is I don't size down the needle for the head. So I make a really wide neckline. That way, it definitely goes over the head easily, and I don't have to faff around with buttons. Because if you have a button in the back, your baby is going to lie on it, and it's uncomfortable. If you put it on the front, your baby may lie on it. So basically, I think the only logical place to have a button would be at the side, but I don't know. I just make a wide neckline, and then if you have a wide neckline on a baby garment, just put it on. Like, there is nothing difficult about it. So my baby and child knits are very much in that vein. And again, your preference may vary. What I also did is initially, I was like, well, I don't gift other like non-knitters. I would never gift them non-superwash baby garments. I also don't want, I use acrylics for blankets, but I don't use acrylics for baby items, which again is a very personal choice. So for my baby, I thought I can just hand wash things because I'm a knitter, and you know how many things I have felted? Because either I felted them because I was tired, or because you have a bunch of baby laundry anyways, and stuff just goes in the washing machine. Like, you may know, it isn't supposed to be washed that way, but it may happen. My husband felted so many things. Sometimes you have fluids on there that you don't want to hand wash. So eventually, I think I learned that the best fibers to use, for my son at least, for our life, our preferences, all of that, was to use sock yarn or like superwash yarn. Superwash wool, which you can wash easily. It's still wool, but you don't, because sometimes with these, this is a hand spun, so obviously this can't go in the machine. And then you just have them piling up because you may not necessarily have the energy or time to wash something by hand immediately. And like, I think with babies and with kids, things just need to be easy. That at least is my philosophy, and that's again very, very personal. But I don't like the frilly bits and the things that you don't know how to combine with other things. I just needed practical garments that you can just throw on and like be done. Like, your child is dressed, congratulations. So without any particular order, I've just gotten out the things that I've found. I have felted so many baby things. I have also given some baby things to friends who have babies. I'm not particularly precious about them. Yeah, I mean, they're meant to be used, and if we've used them and then at some point someone else uses them and then, you know, they are no longer usable, then that's fine. I'm not going to like keep things for eternity. But this is one of many, many flax sweaters that I've made for my son. How tiny is it? He actually wasn't that small when he wore this. Like, I think maybe at like 6 months he wore this. And I remember he was like eating food when wearing this. So not like tiny baby, and it seems tiny. I knit so many flax sweaters for him because I find them so useful. The pattern comes in like DK, Aran, and fingering, so it basically works for any yarn. I think the fiber I used for this was from Das Mondschaf, but I'm only 80% sure on this. With most of my flax sweaters, I don't do the garter stitch. I just do regular stockinette on the sleeves, and isn't that cute? And I have many of these flax sweaters, and they're all the same vein. Like, they're just really simple. This is one that I made for my son when he was quite a bit older. And for this, I used fingering weight superwash wool held double and created this fade. So I've got a sock yarn at the top. There's some singles, merino singles in here, and there's lots of sock yarn in here. And I just did this little like fadey marrowed thing. And he wore this tons. And again, this has been in the washing machine, and it's a little bit pill, but it still looks almost new. Like, I would give this to a friend and wouldn't feel bad about it. I think it's still really, really cute. I really like it. And I have learned that a DK weight or like a fingering weight held double sweater is really useful here in the UK. Our previous house used to be really cold as well. This one is not as bad. And these DK weight sweaters, they have been really handy for us. So this is another flax. And I have one that looks much worse for wear. This is another one that I knit out of 2 sock yarns. Oh, there's still some kind of stain on it. As you can see here, I have done the garter stitch. I also think it looks quite pretty. My son wore this to death. This one is quite pilly and a little bit felted. But all in all, like, it kept him warm. Is it the most beautiful sweater? No, but it worked. It used up stash, and I would say this is probably also like a 2-year size. And up until that size, I could basically use 200 grams of sock yarn held double to make a sweater. So that also means this is great stash busting. What else do I have? Oh yeah, I have another flax here. This is non-superwash, but by this stage my son was old enough that I think I had some more like energy to actually wash stuff properly. So this one survived despite being non-superwash. So for this one, I used a cone of, I think it's like a Danish wool. It's not holster or anything, but like something similar to that. And I used like random colors. I think this may be from a Stephen West mystery knit along, 2 or 3 years ago, the leftovers, because I did a show which had like the purple and the yellow, possibly the white, I'm not sure. And I think I just put in the leftovers in here. And this my son also wore a lot. And obviously with the non-superwash, it is a little bit more warm. And yeah, this has held up well. I can't really remember washing it, but I'm sure we have. And clearly I didn't felt that one, so that's good. Moving on from... Oh no, I have one last flax. I'll stop boring you with flax sweaters. This is one of the first things I knit for my son. This I knit while I was pregnant. And it goes with this super cute hat. I mean, how cute is that? So this is another flax, and as you can see, I did run row stripes. I used helical knitting, and this is blowing out the camera, but this orange is like neon orange. This I used 2 skeins of DK weight merino, which was given to me by a lovely friend who hand dyed these herself. And I remember him wearing this. This was really cute. And we used to say that this is his little pumpkin hat. So this actually was a really useful pattern as well, have an end sticking out. But this is the Merida hat by Alejandra. Oh, I looked this up, I forgot. It's in my Ravelry pages. And what it is a hat with it has like a garter stitch brim with short rows for the ear flaps. And then obviously you have a brioche hat on the top. And this, oh, my son wore this to death. It was really, really cute. It was really a hat with ear flaps and little like ties I found really useful for babies. And I actually, after he wore this to death, I also made a couple of these hats where I omitted the brioche. But I use this pattern for the ear flaps and the garter brim because it just sits really, really well on a child. And I love this little hat. This one I really like, and it was really cute together. Talking about hats, another classic is the beloved bonnet by Tin Can Knits. My son got a couple of these from my friend when he was born, but they were all quite big, so I made him one. I think this may be the newborn size actually, and he wore this well until he was like, I don't know, 9 months old. Like, I find these little bonnets, they are really versatile. And again, it's a fun construction. It's really cute. You can tie it. The only difficulty, and it's not a real difficulty, but the only difficulty with this hat is that my husband could never find the front and the back. And even I have to look twice sometimes. So if you're giving this as a gift, mark the front and the back. But yeah, this is really cute. I used some, I think I had just one 50-gram ball of Derrière Natura in their... Is it the Ulysse space? The thinner one. I think it's Ulysse. And it's really cute. I remember my son with his little like chubby cheeks wearing this. And then before we get to a very special finished object, I also made a couple of Strange Brew sweaters for my son. Again, Tin Can Knits. You have so many options. Actually, this may not be a Strange Brew. I think this is another Tin Can Knits pattern. Apologies. I don't know what this one is called. I remember making it. And again, I use sock yarn for this. I usually don't use non-superwash yarns for color work, but for my son, again, washing is important. I think this is Regia Tweed for the main color, and then I used some mini skeins. I'm not sure, I think we pulled a stitch here because it keeps pulling in on the back, so I'm not sure what happened here. But you can see the little floats and where I've woven my ends. And again, wide neckline. Even with bigger kids, it's handy to have a wide neckline because if you're fighting to get something over a child's head, they're not going to want to wear it. And another tiny, tiny baby knit. This definitely I used the Strange Brew sweater for. I made myself when I was pregnant what's it called? Cardigan. I think it's a French designer that had this motif. I should know, I don't remember. Anyways, I used that exact same chart, but used the Strange Brew sweater by Tin Can Knits to make my son a matching little cardigan. And this is tiny, he wore this when he was newborn. And like, look at the little dinky sleeves. Like, how cute is that? The fit isn't fantastic because it's a cardigan. The neckline is quite wide, but also it doesn't matter on a newborn because they're not walking and running around, are they? I just put one button on the front here because I hate buttons, and I've talked about this. And this, funnily enough, this was knit out of Rauma Finul, which is a Norwegian wool. And I remember my sister always asking me to take this off my son because this to her is so itchy. She couldn't cuddle my son or like interact with him when he was wearing this, which cracks me up. My son didn't care. My son to this day doesn't care. But yeah, how cute is that? Like, this is just a memory piece for me. And then one very special last item I wanted to share with you is this. And this is special because this is, I think, the one thing that my mum knit for me when I was a baby. So I have pictures of myself wearing this as a baby, and my son has worn it as well. And how cute is it? And like, my mum is not, she used to knit in university, but she's not like a knitter with a capital K. But she made this for me. It has buttons on the side. I reckon it's just like a rectangular construction. She even knit this in pieces. I don't know why, but you can see there's a seam. This I think is 100% cotton. It feels like a cotton. It's been washed a million times. It's just the cutest little boxy sweater, and oh, this holds many memories for me. So yeah, there you go. There's a trip down baby garment memory lane for you and for me, actually. Again, all of these are just my opinions. I know other people knit very, very different things for their children, but for me, they've always had to be like practical knits, and I think tin can knits is just the best for that. And I love a basic pattern that I can then just use what I have. And yeah, I'm just repeating myself, so I'm going to stop, but I hope this was helpful for you. And I think as well, if you're gift knitting, because I have been gift knitting a bit for pregnant friends this year. I have another friend due a baby in November. My favorite knits for other people's kids are flags. If you want to knit a sweater, which if you don't, that's fine. Beloved bonnet, just because it's a really fun and cute knit. Like, it just looks good. It's really fun. What else do I like? I like knitting baby socks. I think they're cute, but we didn't use ours that much, I will be honest. I think hats and garments were the most important and relevant knits for us. What else do I like to knit? And blankets, of course. I mean, who doesn't love a blanket? I love making blankets. I love having blankets. My son loves blankets. And the good thing is, if you're gifting something to like a tiny newborn, you can get away with a pretty small blanket because, you know, they will need a blanket for the pram. They may need a blanket for like having in their car seat. So it's another fun like gift knit to make. So there you go. Those are my opinions and some very nostalgic baby and child knits. I don't really knit for my son that much anymore, which I'm so sad to admit. Partly because my lovely friend Marion is just spoiling him. Like, I was looking at his collection of sweaters earlier, and he has so many beautiful like color work and rainbow things that she's knitted for him. And I have another lovely viewer as well, hello, who has sent him some hand-me-down baby child knits from her grandchildren. So he is very well like kitted out with knitwear, and he doesn't actually wear it that much. And since he's starting school as well, he'll be in school uniform from September. So yeah, like, I knit him hats and like the occasional thing, and every now and then he'll come up with like, I need a red hat, I need a red scarf, I need a rainbow something. And I will make him that very happily, but sadly I'm not knitting for him as much. But I mean, I think it just changes, and once he gets a bit older, he might appreciate hand knits more again. So we will see. Yeah, so that's a long story about children's knits. Another question I got following up from, I think, an episode like a week or two ago was, I mentioned that I don't like my Ashford Kiwi spinning wheel. And why don't I like it? And there is no rhyme or reason to it, honestly. My first wheel that I spun on, that I bought myself, was the Bliss by the Woolmakers, and I loved that wheel, and I still love that wheel, and I don't know, it's just like, that's what I spun on for the first couple of my years of my spinning journey, and it's just what I like. I like it. Were I in the EU and I needed a spinning wheel, I would probably, because I had the single treadle, which I liked, I might get the double treadle. But yeah, I miss that wheel. I don't know. Something about that just worked for me. And then I eventually got the e-spinner, the Astro e-spinner 3, which I talked about at length. I didn't used to like it, then I tolerated it for years and years, and now I love it. And I'm just an e-spinner person now. And I got myself the Ashford Kiwi 3 in lockdown when I was stuck in a house in like tier 3, tier 4, who knows, like those like strange like British lockdowns with a newborn or like a tiny baby. You didn't know anyone, we couldn't go anywhere, it was winter, and my e-spinner was in Germany. I couldn't reach it. My in-laws couldn't reach it and send it to me because they were also in lockdown, and I had no spinning wheel. And I got myself the Kiwi 3 because it is reasonably affordable. No spinning wheel is affordable, but that one is sort of at the bottom end. And I just never fell in love with it. I don't like it. There is nothing wrong with it. And I think if maybe that had been my first wheel, I might have a different experience. But I just, like, it works fine. I can spin on it. I just don't love it. So, yeah, I can't give you any, like, real reason. I think I had a bad start with it as well because the original flyer that I got for it was damaged and I had to sort that out. And they did sort it out for me, but that was a bit of a nightmare. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not ready to like list it somewhere to sell it, but I also don't see myself using it. Yeah, so very disappointing answer. I think it's a great wheel. I think lots of people love Ashford wheels and there is nothing wrong with it. It's just me and like personal preferences. All right, I have been going on for a long time. It is only like, I don't know, I have no idea, lunchtime maybe? My son and husband are coming back later tonight, so I shall get knitting. I interrupted my Olympic coverage, but I'll go back to it to watch Simone Biles in gymnastics, if anyone else is watching. Oh my god, she's so amazing. I did watch her first 2 apparatuses, I think, and incredible. So that's what I'm planning to do, and then I'll probably do a check-in with you guys later, but I should keep it brief because this is going to be a long episode today. So yeah, I shall see you guys later. Bye. Hello again, it is now late afternoon, and guess what? I have pretty much finished my second sock. So I have the Kitchener to go, and then this will be done. This is the only thing I've knitted on today. I haven't really made any other progress, but it feels good to have this done. I'm just going to Kitchener it, and I have decided to cast on some new socks. So I did, I think, show this to you at least when winding it yesterday. This is from Indie Yarn Club, which I am quite enjoying. I'm not sponsored, I'm paying with my own money. But they're in the UK. I have their Neon Club subscription and their mini subscription. So this is the July colorway, which I wound yesterday. And then I got inspired to do some kind of neon color pop. So this actually came in the club as well. This is colorway P. This is colorway, does it have a name? Lizard Girl. So once I have finished my socks, I think I shall cast these on, and they can be my Olympic knitting or just another pair of socks on the go. Because I figure I've made pretty good progress. Color Opportunity socks are pretty much done. My Strange Spruce winter is not done, but it's also not that far off. So I deserve a little cast on. And I did, of course, finish my linen quill jumper as well. So yes, I'm going to cast this on. And yeah, everyone will be back in a couple of hours. I had a bit of a weird afternoon lull where after the excitement of Olympics and F1, it's weird to, be going back to routine and full on like nursery work, all of that again tomorrow. And they're coming back, I think, sort of close to my son's bedtime. So I'm hoping it'll all go somewhat smoothly. But yeah, I think I'm going to close out this video, get it all uploaded and out of the way. And then I'll try to enjoy the last couple of quiet hours I have before normal life resumes, which feels strange. I just got used to the quiet and the freedoms, but I also have missed my son dearly, so looking forward to seeing him as well. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this rather lengthy episode. As you will have seen, I've included some photos that I found of my son wearing some of the garments that I talked about. So do let me know if you enjoyed that, and if you have any more questions, do ask them and I'll try to answer them. Thank you so much for following along this weekend, and I will talk to you guys very, very soon. Happy knitting, happy crafting. Thank you for watching. Bye.